Hey guys, so since this is the first week of classes and everything's kind of hectic right now, I figured I would just send out this video for you guys to watch because a lot of this isn't really something that needs to be in a physical meeting, so I figured it would just be easier for everyone if I just kind of show you guys this now so you know it. You could watch this like a couple times if you want to learn things, so then we're ready to go like into the semester before we start everything. Okay, so welcome to your first TLM. Okay, so the agenda, I'm going to go over your guys' job description and kind of like, and in terms of what's being added now, since you guys since we aren't getting members for like a couple more weeks, you guys are technically EPMs right now, but you will be having more advanced job descriptions than an EPM right now. So the job description I'm going to show you is the TL one, but I'm going to point out what parts of it are going to be added to now that you guys are going to be responsible for. And then I'm going to go over the new changes. So I'm going to show you our goal for approvals, sort of the new resources we have for oGV, and things like that. Then I'm going to go over expectations that I have of you guys, and then as your output, so that I know that you've watched this, I want you to text me the expectations you have of me as your VP. Okay, so this is the job description, and I'm going to kind of talk about how this is like the same basically for you guys, but kind of how it's going to be differentiated. So these you can kind of read through, but the main thing I wanted to talk about was the main function. So right now, when it says things like implement team standards and hosting biweekly one-on-ones and the office hours, that is all stuff that will pretty much be added later once we have more members. I don't want you guys to worry about that right now. The main thing that I want you to worry about is this bullet point is the ensure tabling class pitches are scheduled and executed. So pretty much what I want to happen, I'm going to talk about some more in the next slide, is one of you is in charge of tabling and is scheduling tabling, and one of you is in charge of scheduling class pitches. I'm going to talk about that in a second. But everything else pretty much are kind of more related to when we do have the more like when you guys have team members. So for right now, you're pretty much doing the EPM job plus the ensure tabling class pitches, and then you also are technically being trained from this point until we get new members. So this slide is in the Google, like this whole presentation is in the Google Drive, so you can look over this again, or I can just send it to you if you want me to. But for right now, the main point is this that we'll talk about here. So after you watch this, I kind of want this to sort of be for you guys to delegate, to kind of like work together and decide who is going to be in charge of scheduling tabling and who is in charge of scheduling class pitches. And, again, this doesn't mean that you have to attend those. It just means that, for example, if you schedule tabling Tuesday and Thursday, 1 to 3 p.m., that means that there are people who are going there and can definitely go, and that you, like, went to Baker and scheduled them. And I will show you how to do that. And then for class pitches, so I'll kind of show you what we're going to do. So I made a new class pitch tracker for the fall. So this is like the members right now, and then we'll kind of say like how many class pitches they did each week, and then we'll add new members as they come. And then so I have like a bunch of the education classes, the business classes, languages, some arts and science ones. So kind of how, and this is kind of up to you too, this is just sort of my idea, how I kind of want it to go, instead of us just like having members like individually contact teachers. What I want to sort of do is that if there's a teacher like for the BA, whatever it's called, BA 1000 class, where it's like it's all taught by Jen Murphy, I want you guys, like whoever the TL is in charge of it, to contact Jen Murphy and say on like whatever Monday we want to do like class pitches in like during that class. And then we would have a member or like even somebody from ISIC for each time she has a class who's able to go in and do a class pitch. So, and then again, you can kind of do that even with like languages. Like you could figure out like who is the professor, like, in charge of the Spanish department or whatever, and contact them and say like, hey, we want to do class pitches in your Spanish 2110 class. So then they can send out an email to all the people who teach Spanish 2110 and say like, hey, this day or like this week, we are going to have people from ISIC come in and give class pitches. If that makes sense, where it's kind of like we're contacting like the main person in charge and then like working down saying like this whole week or this day we want to give class pitches. I think that'll work a lot easier than us like, like individually contacting this person, individually contacting this person. Because if you see, like when we did that, it wouldn't really get a lot done. And we have a lot of classes that are like the same classes that we could probably do that for. So that's just my idea. And again, the main thing from this, like the main kind of called like or action item or like thing I want you to do after this is to decide together who's in charge of scheduling tabling and who's in charge of scheduling class pitches, and then starting next week is when you will start doing those things. Yeah, so that's right now, that is like the thing, aside from being an EPM right now, this is like the other addition to your job. Okay, so overall goal is 23 oGV approvals by January 31st. Grant was there. We took a lot of time into planning why we chose this number, like exactly why it works for us, and like exactly why we chose 23 as our goal. And then just some notes. No OGE, OGT. We are not marketing those. We aren't worrying about those at all. That is Evan's job right now. They're completely extra and they don't matter at all. It won't help us because right now, to go into the second point, we're a member on alert. So we need to get our general membership back. And the OGE and OGT don't count for that at all. It needs to be just oGV approval. So they literally mean nothing to us. Like they don't help Ohio at all. They only help ICQS. We aren't focusing on those at all. And then October, November, December should be our biggest because we'll have more members and they'll all be educated. And we'll also have you guys as like fully functioning TLs. But I do think we can make September bigger, specifically with IXP, because we do have members who want to go abroad. We can get those new members who want to go abroad. But really, I think overall we should exceed this goal of 23. Okay, so the next thing. So I'm going to talk about some new strategies we have. So for opens. Some new things we're doing, digital marketing. So instead of doing the normal Facebook posts that we've done before, we're going to start investing in Facebook ads. The MCVP of marketing, MJ, she is kind of in charge of this, and I've been kind of working with her with like making them and sort of seeing like what would work best. So that's something that I'm in charge of with the digital marketing. And then emails, that's like the mass emails we send out. That's also what I'll be in charge of. But the members and like you guys for now will still do those Blackboard emails. And then social media posts, kind of self-explanatory. Physical marketing, flyers, I'll probably put more of those out soon. Tabling, we have that new material which worked amazing at the involvement fair. Flash outs, we have that new video. I'm pretty sure I sent in the chat, but we have like lots of material for those. And then marketing that doesn't require our effort is partnerships with orgs. Like we really want to leave that because we have two of those big banners, and I wanted to leave one like somewhere basically. Okay, so the next one. So I think this is when I can show you kind of like our folder. But for applicants, pretty much this is kind of a new like process we're doing. Once we have somebody, so this is like to get applicants. Like this one was to get opens is marketing. To get applicants, this is what we're going to do. So once we have an open, once you like contact that open, you are going to email them and immediately send the EP booklet with that email and ask them to schedule a consultancy meeting. And that should happen in the same week. This way, during the meeting, you can gather info about what kind of work they want to do, what region they want to travel to, and their time frame. And then also, just something to note is that when you are talking to them, sell the why first and not the what. So don't say, we do like cheap exchanges, you should go. Say, we do this because we want to empower youth and change the world, and the way we do that is by sending you abroad. And then also kind of set the expectation that if they apply, they are serious and they want to go on the exchange. And then also have a select few opportunities ready and explain why we send there. So I'm going to show you some of our new material. Okay, so it's under EPM Hub. And then this is how it kind of all goes. So if they are an open, this is where you look for that. So this is all what you would do if you have an open, basically. So and then there's a doc in each one that says, read this first. And it's pretty much a copy of what the last slide said. And it kind of says like what you do as soon as you're assigned an open. And then the EP booklet, I revised a little bit. It pretty much looks the same. It just kind of has I like edited it a little bit. And then there's some first contact examples. These are also updated. Yeah, so you can look through there and kind of see what other little goodies are around. And then, oops. So for the next thing, so if they are, so this is to get them to be accepted. So let's say they're an open and now they're applied, and now we want to get them to accepted. So contact host entity, and also there isn't much we can do here. We just need to choose the right country partners at the beginning, because this is kind of between the EP and the host entity. And then you also want to understand each one's process when accepting an EP. So like, for example, Peru, they just have to fill out like a form and they're accepted. For Thailand, they have to like schedule an interview. But if you look here, so it's if your EP's current status is apply, you will click here. There's another sheet to read first. And then if they're applied, there's a contact example of what to send them. And then there are also the video links for the different countries, because once they are applied to a country, it has worked really well if you contact them and then also send them a link to whatever, like to a video of whatever country they applied for. So like if they applied to Arequipa, Peru, send them the link to the Peru video. They love that. Okay. And so the next thing is to get them to approved. So this is right now, their current status is accepted. So you want to send the acceptance email immediately, and the expectation should be set way before that if they're accepted, they need to pay within 3 days. And then any questions, uncertainties should have been addressed during like the EP meeting, so then when they're accepted, they're ready to go and they're actually going abroad. So this is where it's if their status is accepted. Read this first, pretty much says the same thing, and then contact example of the acceptance letter. And I don't have the slide for it, but then to get them, so if they are approved, so yay, they're approved. The next thing, I'm going to add more. This is kind of like, you know, for right now, once they're approved, we don't need to like OPS isn't going to happen for a while, but pretty much the next thing is if they're approved, they're going to send them an email saying like, you're going to get information about OPS, but right now it's just like tips for going on an exchange. But yeah, so in here is pretty much like whatever the status is of your EP, just like open that folder. So if they're open, those are the resources you get. If they're applied, those are the resources you use to get them to the next stage. Let me know if that doesn't make sense. I feel like I kind of rambled when explaining that. But the other thing I want to show you is the updated opportunity links page. So one thing that will probably be happening soon, but right now there isn't information on it yet, so don't worry about it, is that we are going to have winter break opportunities, but for right now, I have ones for the summer. And so for right now, our partners are Mexico, Peru, Colombia, Brazil. There are Brazil links, I just haven't added them there because there are a bunch, and Indonesia. And then I also made a list of our partner countries. So these are the ones right now. These are the ones that are partner countries. They just don't have opportunities available right now. And these are countries that are like okay to send to. Like if an EP really wants to go to one of them, that's fine. And then these are countries that are blacklisted. We will never ever send to these. So yeah. And again, I'm just kind of brushing over all of these. You know, look through this when you have more time. I just want to kind of show you where everything is. Okay, so is just my expectations of you guys. So one is good communication. Like this is literally the key thing. Like if we can communicate well, whether it's talking about negative things or positive things, that's like all that matters. Like the communication is the biggest part. Next one, just being reliable. Like I definitely want you guys to kind of like see me as a reliable person, but I really, need to rely on you guys. Like this semester is going to be a little bit crazy, and I really need you guys to sort of just like so that I can trust you, if that makes sense. Like if I assign you a task, something like that, I can trust that you will, get it done. And then flexible, because again, like things can get crazy, schedules can get crazy, to just be flexible if things happen, if things, something doesn't work out, to just like always be flexible. And then also to ask questions when needed, and to kind of just like tell me things also when needed. So like if, I don't know, like just because something negative or bad is happening, like please tell me. Or like if you have a question, even if it seems dumb, like just ask me. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. So the one thing I just wanted to reiterate at the end of this is, first of all, kind of go over like how the new look of this is, because this is like the resources we'll have to get people approved. Let me know if any of that's confusing. And then also to decide together who is in charge of scheduling tabling and who is in charge of class pitches. And then also text me so that I know that you've seen this, your expectations you have for me as your VP. So text me your expectations, decide together who's doing what, and look over this if you can. And thank you guys. Yeah, that's pretty much it.